Hey guys, I'm back. Last video I talked about how to be constantly creative, and today I'm here to tell you not to force yourself to be creative. Right? Obviously, I have to milk this out, so enjoy it. But you can't force yourself out. Now, last video I talked about how I practice a lot. I'm always coming up with ideas. I always sit down and I try to write stuff because you know you just got to, especially when you're creative. You just always have to come up with stuff. You watch the last video, you'll understand. But in that video, I also briefly just mentioned not forcing yourself to be creative, and I'm gonna go into depth here. So, like I said, almost every day I come up with ideas for songs. Now, why I'm telling you not to force yourself to be creative is because I'm telling you not to force yourself to be creative is because of how unhealthy it is. I'll admit this firsthand. I'm a bit of a workaholic. I'm always trying to come up with stuff, and right now it's fine because I'm not really trying to work on anything. I'm not really going out. I'm not going trying to meet new people. I'm just trying to bunker down and work hard and trying to come up with ideas for enough material to perform eventually, hopefully someday soon. But forcing yourself to be creative, not a good idea. Lots of burnout comes from that. I can attest to that. I will I will go through periods where I will be able to come up with, let's say, 10 songs. In 1 week I write 10 songs. Let's say for example, and then for the next week I can't come up with shit, and that will piss me off because I came up with 10 songs last week. Why can't I come up with more? And so I'll try and force out ideas. And I don't like any of the ideas that I come up with when I force stuff out. I don't like my ideas when I do like them after a while. But I still do it because fuck, I worked hard enough, and I might as well keep it. But forcing yourself to come up with ideas, bad idea. For example, about a month ago, I was trying to come up with ideas for songs, right? And I came up with about 5 good ones. And I came to the 6th one. I titled it "Without You," and I hated it. Wish I had gone without writing that fucking song because it sucked so bad. I ended up just deleting it because it just was so garbage to listen to. Not listen to. I didn't record it. I just read the words and I just hated it. Labors of love when it comes to songs like that. Obviously you'll struggle sometimes to come up with a good song, but to me, when I look at the finished product and I don't like it at all, that to me is just a sign that this is just forced out and it should not be done. And it just ends up being a waste of time because the time you could have spent, the time that you spent forcing out an idea, you could have just relaxed or just practice something else. Right. And you just waste time basically working on garbage, trying to cultivate garbage for no reason other than your ego. Which I'll admit, I have a bit of an ego when it comes to my songwriting, but I try to temper it. I try to be realistic about it and self edit. You have to be good at self editing and realizing when something just isn't that good. Me, fortunately, I have a friend that can look at the stuff I write and say, okay, this is good, but you gotta change this, and this sucks, and this is really good. You know, But if you don't have a friend that can do that honestly, you know, you have to really be able to be honest with yourself and look at something objectively and say, okay, this is not good, and you know deep down when it's not good. You know for a fact that this is just not going to work, right? Like here, all right, I'll show you something I wrote. Show you the without your riff, if I can remember it. Let me try that again. Now, okay, I'll admit Milky Now, it's not a terrible song. It's not a terrible idea, but when I was writing it, I hated it. I thought it was so bad. It was just so forced. Another song I wrote, Think About You, I wrote the riffs to that and I'm going to record it later. But I did come up with any lyrics for it. And I tried to come up with lyrics, but I hated it. So I got rid of it. And this is the part that I want you to understand. You cannot force it to be creative. You can't force yourself to write or do anything. You just have to kind of allow it to happen. Song ideas are like gifts from God. If God does not grant you the gift, then you cannot use it, regardless of how hard you try. Sometimes God just says it's not time. Maybe I'll write the maybe I'll be able to finish up without you at some point. Maybe I'll finish. Maybe I'll be able to write the lyrics to think about you at some point. But right now I can't do it because the idea hasn't come to me. And I cannot force what I cannot have. You can only do what you can in that situation. That probably applies to a lot more than just music, but you know, you can't force it out. At some point, you just have to allow it to be. I've certainly done that. I've written stuff halfway, and then later I'll be able to come up with the rest of it months later. And you just have to be okay with that. You have to allow it to be. Don't force yourself to come up with ideas, especially when you don't have any. You know, just be okay with it. Let it simmer. Be creative, but don't force it out. Don't make it. Don't try and make it happen because that's when your worst stuff comes out. All right. All right. I think you get the idea. I'll be around later, so see ya.